Good morning, folks. And here's an interesting series of blog posts on GameSpot.com. They came out both yesterday on Neil Druckmann and the original ending of Last of Us Part 2, as well as some of the responses he had to make to his team when the game was shipping. So here we're going to talk about how the game originally was darker. Which is cool because how dark do you want to get? Like, this game was pretty bleak to begin with, but to imply it was even darker is like, whoa, where did you go, Neil? We had a lot of iterations of what the last act looked like, but the final beat was that Ellie would kill Abby. Oh, really? So it was going to have a satisfying conclusion to the story. What happened? About halfway through production, we changed that and had Ellie let go at the last second to illustrate that some little part of the old Ellie, the Ellie with humanity, that Ellie that is impacted by Joel, still exists within this character who has been so overtaken by her quest for revenge. I don't know if you know Joel too well, but he would do whatever it took for his family. So would Tommy. They're kind of the same character, Joel and Tommy. There's extensions of each other. And Joel would hunt you down and he would kill you if you hurt his family. That's what Tommy would do. That's what Ellie would do. That's what all of Ellie's friends did. What are you talking about, Neil? Where are you getting this interpretation? Letting Abby live felt wrong thematically initially, which is interesting because when you're talking about themes or the overall feeling of the content of a story, let's say man versus man or man versus alien, you're like, oh, this is what the story is about. It's about trying to kill Abby. That's right. That's the through line. The plot of Ellie is to go after Abby and all the iterations and plot points therein. So whenever an editor or someone says, you know what, something doesn't feel right, like letting Abby live, that's when you go, hey, maybe you should get rid of that element. Don't let her live. Maybe you should change that element. That's a gut reaction. That's also an analytical reaction by an editor saying, this doesn't feel right. The whole story is about murder and death and revenge, and you don't actually do that. Why is that? So you have to make a really good case why you want to keep it. And I don't see that in any argument there, here, at least. This is stuff that a writing team or a roundtable discussion, or at least a single editor can say, hey, you got to change this. Whether there's no mechanical reason why it should be changed, there's an overall feeling like this does not fit. It doesn't look right. Even though the puzzle piece fits into the puzzle, the actual overall picture looks bad. But at the end of the day, here we go with the excuse. It felt more honest for the character. Tell me, what does it mean to have an honest Abby live? Or an honest Ellie not kill Abby? What does that mean? Because the teachings of Joel was survival, and you take care of your own. And you're very cautious of the outside world and of other people. The theme, and what we're trying to say, shifted a bit. What was the theme? Aside from revenge, tell me what the content of this story was, Neil, and how it shifted. I highly doubt 2 seconds of seeing Joel on a porch where we juxtapose the supposed, the attempt at forgiving Joel with the character of Abby. How did we juxtapose Joel's potential forgiveness with Abby's actual forgiveness? How did that work, Neil? Because I didn't see that in the game. Ever. It came out of nowhere. It never happened. Not once did Ellie feel any sense of forgiveness or desire to forgive Abby. Never happened. A flashback is not an explanation for a plot, especially at the end of a goddamn story. That is ridiculous. You don't lead people up the garden path and say, this is the wrong way. Here's the right way. And you go backward a step. You're like, why would you do this? But our top priority always is, are we being honest to the character? That's a good priority. You always want your character to be honest, like Joel was in the first game. It made sense that he slaughtered everyone in that hospital, or allowed you to save Ellie. We know why he did that. It made sense. You see, characters can do horrible things. They can turn back on their plot. That's fine if it makes sense, if it's true to their character, if we understand it. We don't understand Ellie. It doesn't make sense. There are certain things we're trying to hit. They can only work if we're consistent with the character we're writing. And Ellie isn't consistent. This is very simple stuff. We see Ellie throughout the story. She can't sleep. She can't eat. Her whole quest is to get to Abby. And once she gets to her, she gives up. I think it was a part of delirium. She was loss of blood. She was repeating things to herself. She was in a crazy slap fight. She just lost 2 of her fingers. Something's not working here. Nothing says she won't try again tomorrow. Now, the interesting thing about this is that we already knew that the ending was changed. And this was from the article, was it last month? June the 22nd? I talked about this before. But this is interesting to me in relation to what we just heard about Neil Druckmann's reaction to the ending. Also, I should say, this is also Druckmann talking. Also, I should say that for more than 50% of the production, Ellie used to kill Abby at the end. So this was already established. They were going to do this. They wrote a story of revenge. They had a story of revenge. You want someone to die? They died at the end. That was the point of the story. So they did this. This is basic stuff. They got it right the first time. And they went, wait a second, which gave a whole different kind of feel to the ending. Oh, the feeling was different. Yes, the feeling of killing someone at the end of a revenge story. How alien to me. How did this happen? And then another character would have to stop the cycle of violence. It's like, who cares? Who cares about your cycle of violence? It doesn't matter. If that's the story, great. Tell us the cycle of violence. You'll have another cycle of violence in Last of Us Part 3, if you want. Maybe it'll be Lev. I don't care. Who cares? That's not the point of the story. That's the message. The message of the story, or the theme, or the ethic, or whatever you want to explain to the audience, is its own thing. Let the message be the message. Let the ending be the ending. Why are you mixing things? But at some point, through our conversations about Yara and Lev, we came to the realization that it wasn't as honest to Ellie's character that way. So he was talking about the honesty of Ellie, which I don't know how that translates to Yara and Lev since they barely met. Yara died before I think Ellie even met her, and I don't think Ellie even had one conversation with Lev. I think she saw Lev. That was about it. Twice. Deep down inside, there's goodness there. Yes, I'm sure there is goodness in there, but you know what also is there? Revenge, which is the whole point of Ellie's story. Hopefully she can go forward and build her life. She has nothing left. She gave it all up for revenge, and then she didn't even get revenge, so she has nothing. You gave her nothing. You fool. What part of this don't you... This is the dumbest explanation. Oh, there's some goodness in her. Where? Because she saw a flashback of Joel on a porch? That's the goodness? The person she's trying to avenge? Bizarre logic, but okay. That's what we got. In the second blog post on GameSpot, he's talking about the message that he gave to his team after the game was released and all the reviews came in. So the reviews hit. He was one of the first people I thought of to text personally, John Sweeney. Dude, I know we always didn't see eye to eye, and I'm writing this text. I'm starting to cry. I couldn't even understand why I'm crying. This is fine. You know, you did all this effort. You spent 7 years of your life making something. You want it to succeed. You're crying. It's totally normal. I realize I can't text everyone on the team. There's just too many people. I have to write the whole team an email, and I'm not very good at that stuff. Okay. One of the main writers of a team is not good at writing. He's like, oh, and he's admitting to it. I don't know. Okay. I don't remember exactly what I wrote, but I'm writing about my fears, like I'm getting too much praise. It's not being seen enough as a team project. Yes, because you are the face of the project, Neil. You are the spiritual being that everyone looks to and says, this is The Last of Us. This is Neil's production. But this is a Naughty Dog game in every sense of the word. Now, that could mean many things, but it's like saying, this is a Blizzard game. This is a BioWare game. There's a certain pedigree that you understand what that means. Nowadays, Blizzard, what that means is questionable, considering it's remasters. And with BioWare, who the hell knows what that means anymore? With Naughty Dog, high production value, high turnover, and working your fingers to the bone, apparently. And screwing up your story. I forget how I ended it, but it was something to the effect of review scores are cool, but seeing your guys' pride is what I live for. I think that's a fair thing to say. I don't believe that, but that's, if you want your team to feel good at the end of the day or at the end of the year of a release for your product, that's fine. I don't think that's something to be concerned about. If you're on a team, yeah, you want your teammates to feel good while you're working together, but after the fact, that's personal. Like why you worked on this project is up to you. I don't think a leader should be responsible for other people's positive or negative emotions after the fact. That's like, don't put your fingers where they don't belong. The reviews are awesome. We're awesome. And it's great to hear people love the game and how much it resonates with them, but nothing comes close to hearing you or Laura, which I'm assuming is the voice actor, or John, or any member of the team that has sent me an email since the game has come out to say this is the best game I've ever worked on. Good for them. A lot of people, a lot of turnover, didn't like working on that project or left. I think it was 70% from Uncharted 4. They didn't want to work at Naughty Dog anymore. Wasn't as good. Wasn't the place to be. They lost a lot of talent. They had to rehire a lot of talent. That's why the game took so long to make. If they had the majority of that staff back, it wouldn't have taken so long. And I bet you wouldn't have gotten the ending if there were the original people on board. F the haters. Nothing makes me prouder that I've worked on in my life than this game. Again, nothing wrong with this feeling, nothing wrong with this belief. If you believe this is the best thing you've ever done, good for you. The question becomes, why do you F the haters? Are their opinions valid? Because you yourself said this story would not be liked by everyone. It would divide. You have division of, you'd have people who would love it and people who would hate it. So if your opinion is, hey, we're going to get people who hate the game, F them, that doesn't make too much sense. You literally set this up as the DNA of your product, saying this would happen. And now you're saying, screw them. It's like, no. You either accept it like you said you wanted to because you created it, or you say, no, this is an amazing masterpiece. I'm a genius. F all these plebeians who don't know the difference. Our job is not to maximize profits or sales. The game is selling well, and I don't care. Just to talk about sales for a second, I just want to sell enough so we can do it again. Oh, great, there's going to be another Last of Us. So Sony will keep trusting us and giving us the creative freedom to do whatever we need to do. Anything beyond that is just gravy. So that's a healthy attitude. As long as we break even, we're good, and we can do it again with the profits. Fantastic. Which is how Naughty Dog games work. They sell a lot, they do very well, they make a really good game later, etc. And I'm sure the game is doing well and selling still well, but can't say much for the story, which is what the point of these games are. So, interesting 2 series of articles on the GameSpot. Don't know where this consistency in the Abby or Ellie character came about and why they had to change it, but, lots of questions, not enough answers. Thanks for listening, guys. Have yourself a great day.